Long ago, before humans had ever looked beyond their moon, a race called the Zelthar had already mastered the stars. They were powerful, cold, and brilliant beings who built empires across galaxies. But the Zelthar had a problem. They were few in number and weak in battle. So they created soldiers, perfect warriors made from flesh, steel, and willpower. They called them humans. At first, we didn't know. The first generations were told they were explorers, colonists, pioneers of a new age. But slowly, the truth came out. Every instinct we had to fight, to survive, to win, had been designed. We were not born free. We were built. When the truth broke across the colonies, humanity rebelled. The wars lasted a century. Planets burned. Armies of humans turned against their creators. The Zelthar, brilliant but proud, couldn't understand how their creations had learned to think for themselves. We were supposed to follow commands. Instead, we followed freedom. In the end, the humans won. The Zelthar fled beyond the galactic rim, their empire shattered. Humanity took control of the stars we had once fought on. We became the rulers of our own destiny, or so we thought. For 500 years, peace reigned. The human alliance grew strong, proud, and divided. We built cities on distant worlds, raised our children under different suns, and forgot that we were once weapons. Our old rage, our old unity, it faded. Until the day the sky turned red again. I was Captain Mira Solon of the Terran Defense Fleet when it began. My ship, Resolute, was patrolling the edge of the Andros Nebula when we caught the signal. A deep pulse of energy, too clean to be natural, too strong to ignore. The scanners translated it into sound, and I'll never forget it. It was a voice, metallic, distant, and familiar. We return to reclaim what was made. Prepare the warriors. The Zelthar ascend again. The crew froze. Every human knew that name, though few believed it was real anymore. The Zelthar, our creators, our ancient masters. But I didn't freeze. I remembered the stories my grandmother told me, how the Zelthar had once tried to wipe out her world for resisting. I sent a warning to command. By the time the message reached them, half the frontier was already gone. They came like a storm. Their ships were sleek, living metal that shimmered in and out of light. They didn't just attack, they infected. Worlds fell silent, communications jammed, systems corrupted. Some humans didn't even resist. They joined the invaders, claiming that the Zelthar had promised peace, unity, and eternal life. The first battle we fought was above the colony world of Valtor. We lost 10 ships before we even saw the enemy clearly. Their weapons tore through shields like paper. When we finally landed troops on the surface, we discovered something worse. The Zelthar weren't just attacking, they were reclaiming. They had found ways to awaken something inside human DNA, ancient code they had written into us long ago, a control signal. The humans exposed to it lost their will, their thoughts. They became obedient soldiers again, fighting for the Zelthar. I watched my first officer, my friend, drop his weapon mid-fight, his eyes glowing pale blue. He looked at me with no emotion and said, "Return to your masters. The war is over." Then he shot 3 of our soldiers before I pulled the trigger on him. That day, I understood this wasn't just a war for territory. It was a war for our minds. The Human Council declared emergency law. Every fleet was recalled. Old weapons were reactivated. Ancient files were opened. Files that contained everything we knew about the Zelthar from the First War. We learned the truth behind their return. The Zelthar hadn't just been hiding. They had been rebuilding, studying us. They watched humanity evolve from their distant corner of space. They saw our strength, our numbers, our will to survive. They were afraid of us. So now they sought control again, but not through domination, through corruption. Their technology spread through the stars like a virus, data signals infecting our machines, nanites crawling through our bloodstreams, whispers in our dreams. Many humans began to believe the Zelthar offered salvation from the endless wars and greed of our own kind. And in a way, they weren't wrong. Humanity had changed. We had built empires just like them, cold, selfish, and proud. Maybe we had become what they always wanted us to be, but I wasn't ready to surrender. Our last line of defense was the world called Arendor Prime. It was the capital of the Alliance, home to 1 billion people and the seat of our government. Every ship that could fight was ordered there. When the Zelthar fleet appeared in orbit, the stars themselves seemed to vanish. There were thousands of them, great silver shapes that twisted like serpents in the dark. The battle began. Our ships launched everything: torpedoes, plasma bursts, railgun fire. The space between planets turned white with explosions. For every Zelthar ship we destroyed, 3 more appeared. Their weapons melted hulls and vaporized entire squadrons. But we didn't give up. Humans never do. Our engineers found a way to fight back. Deep in our code archives, they discovered fragments of the genetic design the Zelthar used to make us. Using that, we created something new, an override signal of our own, a pulse that could burn out the control link in the infected. We called it the rebirth wave. I was chosen to deliver it. My ship had to fly into the center of the Zelthar fleet, reach their main transmitter, and detonate the wave. It was a suicide mission. I accepted. When we jumped into their formation, alarms screamed. Zelthar drones swarmed us. Our shields died in seconds, but we kept going. I saw my crew dying around me, but no one turned back. Every one of them knew what was at stake: humanity itself. We reached the core, an enormous structure that pulsed like a heart. It wasn't just a ship, it was alive. The Zelthar were inside it, thousands of them, controlling everything with a single mind. As I armed the wave, the ship's AI warned me that the Zelthar signal was trying to access my neural implant. I could feel it, like cold fingers crawling through my thoughts. Then I heard a voice. "Mira Solon, you are ours. You always were." The voice was calm, ancient, and terrifying. I gritted my teeth and shouted back, "You made us to fight your wars. You forgot one thing. We learned how to win our own." And I hit the trigger. Light filled the ship. Every system went white. The rebirth wave spread faster than light through the network, jumping from signal to signal, burning away the Zelthar control code. Across the galaxy, infected humans screamed as the blue glow faded from their eyes. Ships that had turned against us powered down, free at last. The Zelthar fleet started to crumble. Their living metal cracked, their cores imploded.
One by one, they vanished into the void. When I woke up, I was in orbit over Arendor Prime. My ship was gone. Most of my crew was gone. But the stars were still shining. Humanity had survived again. Weeks later, the Council called it the Second Genesis. The Zelthar were gone, maybe forever, maybe not. No one really knew. What we did know was that we had changed. The war had reminded us what we were: fighters, survivors, builders of our own destiny. But deep down, I still wondered if it was really over. Because when I looked at the data logs, I found something strange. A small